Alright, part 192. Part 192, part Subpart K, operating 551, scope of the subpart, scope of the minimum requirements for the increase of the maximum allowable operating pressure for the pipelines. 553, general requirements. Pressure increase. Whenever the requirement for the subpart recover the increase of the operating pressure made with the increment of the pressure must be increased gradually at the rate with it can be controlled with the with the following with the aim of each of the incremental increase of the pressure must be held within constant one entire segment of the pipeline. Effect of the check the release each likely to detect with the repair with the made before the further pressure with the increase that is made with except with the leak with determined potential will have the need not to be repaired if it is monitored during the pressure increase that does not become potential hazard. If the records even the operator who operated for the segment of the pipeline shall require the retain for the life of the segment of the record each investigation required for this subpart all work performed nominally each for the pressure test conducted in connection with the operating writing plan each operate the segment of the pipeline shall establish the written procedure with the ensure that each of the applicable requirements of the subpart is complied with the limitation increasing of the maximum allowing operating pressure except for the providing 192.555C the new maximum allowing operating pressure established on the subpart may not be exceeded the maximum that would be allowable to 192.619.60 and 621. The new segment of the pipeline constructed with the same material with the same location, however, when operating of the steel pipe, if any variable necessary to determine the design pressure under the design formula 192.105 and the known maximum allowable operating pressure may be increased provided 192.619A, 192.555A, operating with the pressure for the hoop for the 30% of the system measured yield steel in steel pipelines. Unless the requirements of the section have been met with no person suffer with any of the segment of the steel pipe with the operating pressure, they will be for the which of the 30% more of the system measured yield strength is above the established maximum allowable operating pressure. For increased operating pressure above the previously established maximum allowable operating pressure for the operator shall review the design operating maintenance the history of the previous history of testing of the segment of the pipeline to determine whether the proposed increase is safe with the consistent with the requirements of this part, making any of the repairs will play for the alteration segment of the pipe. This measure of the safe operation with the increase of the pressure after complying with the paragraph, the section operator may increase the maximum operating pressure of the segment of the pipeline constructed before September 12, 1970. The highest pressure of the permitted in 192.619 unless the test pressure for the highest pressure to which the segment of pipeline was previously subjected to either strength to the actual operation after complying with the paragraph of the DB of the section. The operator does not qualify under the paragraph C of the section may increase the previously established maximum allowable operating pressure if at least one of the following requirements is met. The segment of the pipeline successfully tested in accordance with the requirements of this part of the new line with the same material, the same location. An increased measure maximum allowable operating pressure may establish a segment of the pipeline one class 1 location if the line is not previously being tested and impractical to test for the accordance with the requirements of this part of the new maximum operating pressure to exceed 80% of the allowable new line of the same design. Same location operator determine the new maximum allowable operating pressure that's consistent with the condition of a segment over the pipeline design requirements of this part. When the segment of the pipeline operated with the according to the paragraph C of the section, the increase of the pressure must be made with increments of the equal to the 10% of the pressure of the operating 25% of the total pressure increase, whichever if the fewer number of the increments 192.557 operating steel pipeline pressure will produce the hoop shaft less than 30% of the system measured yield strength on plastic cast iron and ductile iron pipelines unless requirement of this section have been met. No person may be subject to a segment of the steel pipe operating pressure that will reduce the hoop shaft less than 30% of the system measured yield strength that is above the previously established maximum allowable operating pressure from plastic and cast iron ductile iron pipeline segment of the operator for the pressure above the pressure established maximum allowable operating pressure before increasing operating pressure above the previously established maximum allowable operating pressure the operator shall review the design operation made with the history of the segment of the pipeline, make a leakage survey if it has been more than 1 year since the survey of the repair any leak that are found if the leak determined not potentially hazard needs not be repaired. If it is monitored during the pressure for the increase, it does not become potentially hazardous. Make any of the repair for the relief and the alteration segment of the pipe necessary for the save the operation with increase the pressure, reinforce anchor offset ends of the deep and dead ends of the pipe, joined with the compression and the coupling with our belt with the spigot, joined with to prevent failure of the pipe, joined with the offset bends and dead end with exposed excavation. Isolated segments of the pipeline with the pressure for the increase for any of the adjacent segment with it will continue to be operated with the lower pressure. If the pressure remain with the surface the line with the bolt with the high within pressure delivered to the customer and sell the service regulator each of the service line with the test each of the regulators to determine the function of the pressure may be increased as necessary. Test each regulator after the regulator has been installed with each of the pipeline with the increase of the pressure. After complying with the paragraph B of the section, increase the maximum allowable operating pressure must be made with the increments that are equal to 10 psi gauge or 25% of the total pressure increase, whichever agree with the fewer number of the increments whenever the requirements of BC of this section apply, but there must be allow the two approximately equal increments of increase. The record for the cast iron ductile iron pipe facilities are not completely enough to determine the strength of the produce. The internal pressure transfers the loading, rolling the loads, and beam strength of the other beam loading. Then evaluating level of safety of the pipeline with the operating proposed increase the pressure found procedure must be followed. It's estimated that the strength of the original laying condition cannot be certain, but the operator shall assume that the cast iron was supported with a block of tan backfill. The ductile iron pipe is laid out with a block of tan backfill. Unless the actual maximum over the depth is known, the operator shall measure the actual cover to at least 3 places for the cover that must be likely to greater than shall use the greatest cover the measured. Unless the actual nominal wall thickness is known, the operator shall determine the wall thickness according to the measuring coupon to at least 3 separate pipe lengths. Coupons must be cut with the pipelines in areas where the cover depth is likely to be the greatest. The average of all the measurements taken must be increased by allowance of the indicating on this following table. For cast iron pipes, unless the manufacturing process is known, the operator shall assume the pipe is cast pipe with a bearing tensile strength of 11,000 psi and a modulus rupture of 31,000 psi gauge. Subpart L, operations.